What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Sick Eric Tech, and today we're going to be doing my final review of the Google Pixel 8. Now, this guy has been really good for the most part, and I've had it ever since it came out. And I'm going to go over my final thoughts of the Google Pixel 8, and pretty much everything is good with a little bit of bad on here, but really not a lot. Everything for the most part has been excellent for the Pixel 8. Definitely an upgrade from last year's Pixel 7 and 7 Pro. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, if you're new here to Sick Eric Tech, welcome. Do a lot of videos like this, especially a lot of comparison videos with devices and other devices, older devices as well. So if you like what you see, consider subscribing and clicking that bell icon. That way you don't miss out on future videos here on the channel. So going on over as far as the size of this device, it is a pretty manageable size, a little bit smaller than usual. You get about 5.93 inches from top to bottom and 2.79 inches wide and 0.35 inches thin. It is a pretty small device, really nice to hold in the hand. It weighs about 6.60 ounces. You get some nice curved corners on here to make it a little bit more comfortable to hold. A little bit of a curved back on here as well. You get a flat display on here, so that's a lot of people like flat displays, and it is very manageable and very nice to hold in the hand. Definitely a one-handed device compared to all these other huge devices that come out nowadays. You get Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on the front and on the back. You get an aluminum frame that is not shiny like it is on the Pro version, so you get a little less fingerprints on the frame, but the back is glossy. I would have preferred this to be a matte finish like it is on the Pro. I'm assuming that wouldn't be hard to do, but Google's trying to, make it sure you could tell the difference between the Pro and a non-Pro version, and a matte finish on the back would have been excellent. I also miss the days of the Pixels to where they had the accent colors, one color down here and then the accent color up top, like the Pixel 6. I wish that would come back. That was really cool. You get IP68 dust and water resistance on the Pixel 8, so that's really nice. As far as no SD card, there was no SD card on the Pixels. Unfortunately, this is the 8GB 128GB model, and this is a T-Mobile variant as well, just in case you guys are wondering, but it's going to be the same across the board if you're to get this from Google as well. Only difference is T-Mobile's updates are a little bit less delayed, or a little bit more delayed than from Google, but not by a lot. Now, as far as the display goes, fantastic, beautiful display. This is one of the best displays on a Pixel phone yet. Google really knocked it out of the park with this display. It is an OLED, 120 Hz, supports HDR10+, can have a peak brightness of 2000 nits when you have this set to auto, which is fantastic. This display is bright, 6.2 inches of greatness, 85.5% screen to body ratio. It is a 1080p by 2400 display with 428 pixels per inch, and like I said earlier, it is covered in Corning Gorilla Glass Victus. You get an always on display, which is fantastic. I don't know if you guys could see that, but it's really cool, and you can customize them pretty well with this always on display. You get a little bit more newer designs on here, so that's fantastic. This device is running Android 14 with the Google Tensor G3 chipset, so we are now on the third generation of the Tensor chip, and this is a really great upgrade from last year's Pixel 7 Tensor chip by a lot. This thing is a beast. It performs well and no overheating. As far as anything goes, it has been a champ. No screen dimming when this phone gets too hot when you're outside. Haven't had any issues. Now, the only issue that I would say I had is that I just installed the beta program on this device, so the Android 14 beta. I did install it and I got my first overheating. So with that being said, it is a beta, so it's not perfect, and I'm assuming there should be an update for it. But before this, just a couple of days ago I installed this update, but for it, no issues with overheating. It's just the particular beta one that I did install does tend to get a little bit warmer, so keep away from the beta if you want to, unless this isn't your main device. I would suggest not flashing it on here. If it isn't your main device, go ahead, play with it, flash it on there, see how it is. You do get a little bit more customization when it comes down to the lock screen on here. When it comes down to the beta, you get one extra clock on here, which is pretty cool. All the other clocks tend to look the same. And as far as anything else goes, this is the extra clock right here that you get. Not much has changed with this beta program. The update center does look a little different when you go into system and software updates. So here is the new update center. You get everything on here: system, Google Play system update, and app updates all on one section. So that's pretty new that I noticed with this beta. But other than that, more than likely your version is not going to have that beta. We are purely going off stock of what this device comes in, and I'm not including my thoughts of the beta, just the overall device. Like I said earlier, 8 GB of RAM. This can go all the way up to 256 if you were to get this from Google, and performance on here has been really great. The only issue I might have is with connectivity. As far as 5G goes, with the adaptive mode on, it does take a minute to switch from Wi-Fi to 5G, and it pretty much leaves the phone useless. It will not load anything. When I'm at work, I already do have a low signal at work, and my Samsung, my Motorola's, everything are still usable out there with the low signal. But this device, trying to load YouTube, it is a little bit slower. So I would say that the 5G connectivity on here is not as great, but it is better than last year. But still, Google has a lot of work to do on here when it comes down to the modems and things like that. This device is running UFS 3.1, and like I said, pretty good in performance. No complaints whatsoever other than running this beta. You do get an in-display fingerprint sensor. It is optical, and it's way better than the Google Pixel 6 days. Like, this thing is fast and it works really nice. You do also get facial recognition, which is fantastic, and that also is fast as well. And the facial recognition can work with your banking apps and your Google Pay, so that's fantastic. The Google upped it for this facial recognition and made it more secure on the Pixel devices, sort of like the Apple, except it's not as secure, because it's just taking a picture of your face, but still they made it more secure to where you could actually use with your banking apps, and that's really cool. Going on over to the cameras, you get a 50 megapixel main sensor with an aperture of f1.7. It does support laser autofocus and does support OIS, so that's fantastic. You get a 12 megapixel ultra wide with an aperture of f2.2, and yeah, these cameras are phenomenal. Your front facing camera, 10.5 megapixel front facing camera on here, and this is really good. This phone outperforms any of my other devices despite not having a telephoto lens, so I could only imagine how good the Pro version is. But this version alone, really good. The photos come out awesome. Nighttime photography, really good. I think this outbeats my Galaxy S23 Ultra when it comes down to nighttime footage. Video on here has gotten a lot better from the past, so 4K 60 frames per second is going to be the cap. Front is going to be 4K 60 as well, so that's really good news. And I'm not complaining. I love these cameras on the Pixel. They do not disappoint whatsoever. Daytime, nighttime, video, everything is really good with these cameras. You get night sight, you get portrait, long exposure, action pan, and you get a panorama as well. And the camera app has actually been updated to where it's a little bit more easier to use. You get your camera over here, and you get your recording on this side, and then you also have your settings, so it's a little bit more of a different UI for the camera, and I love it. This thing takes the best pictures when it comes down to photography, and really good video. May not be as great as an iPhone, but still really good video. Pixel and Google have really upped their game in the video department, and of course they've always been the kings of photography, and this phone is no different. It's very nice. The pictures have good dynamic range, video is great. So yeah, you'll probably be seeing some pictures flash on your screen taken on this device. Not going to show a lot, but still you get the idea as far as how the photos come out on the Pixel 8. You got stereo speakers on here. Stereo speakers are pretty good. They're not that bad. They get loud enough, but I've heard better, maybe because the device is so small that you do not get that, you know, resonance on the inside for your stereo speakers. So let's go ahead and hear a sample of the speakers on the Pixel 8. Alright, so what do you think? Are the speakers good enough? Comment down below on your thoughts. I think they sound really good. One of these days, I wish hopefully Google will give us some Dolby Atmos on their devices. That would be fantastic. But speaker quality, definitely A in my book, and it passes. They sound really good. Wi-Fi 7 on here with Bluetooth 5.3. No issues with Wi-Fi connectivity and Bluetooth, and you know, other than the signal and the 5G and the switching from Wi-Fi to 5G. But other than that, signal is strong with Wi-Fi. Bluetooth is actually really good. Calls on this device are really good on this Pixel, as far as, you know, being able to hear the other person and them hear you when you're on a phone call. The translation on here with voicemail and everything like that, the call screening, you get so many different options when it comes down to the Pixel devices, and they work well. When you get a voicemail, it will transcribe that whole voicemail into text. That way you could read it. When you get call screening, and when you make a call, you could have the hold for me feature, to where if you're on a phone call and you're on hold, that will all transcribe on there as well. And it's a really nice touch to where Google really shines when it comes down to their AI functionality on the Pixels. So that's really nice. It's the editing your photos on here is really nice when it comes down to the AI as well. You get so many different options, and I really like what Google is doing here when it comes down to the artificial intelligence on the Pixel 8. It works really well when it comes down to that. Battery life on here has actually been really good. You get a 7500 milliamp hour battery with 27 watts wired charging and 18 watts wireless charging, and this is definitely an all-day device. No issues with battery life. I would say maybe this beta program cut down battery life by maybe less than an hour, but other than that, battery life on the Pixel, definitely an all-day device and then some. No complaints on battery life. This thing is a champ. Charging on here, it does charge pretty quick. If you were to use the Pixel stand, it charges pretty quick as well. No issues. And I would say that this is way better battery life than the Pixel 7. Even the 7 Pro from last year, this thing outlasts that by a lot. And I'm not one for screen on time and things like that. I use my phone, and you know, that's what I use it for, to stream, to make calls, to, you know, go on the internet and YouTube. So screen on time for me, not really a huge deal. It depends on usage, and it also will depend on your usage as far as how long the battery lasts. But no complaints. This thing has been a champ when it comes down to battery life. No issues whatsoever. Overheating, like I said, other than installing the beta program, no issues with overheating with that battery and usage on this device. So did this come in 3 different colors? You get an obsidian, a hazel, and a rose. This is going to be the hazel color. Rose color, obviously more of a pinkish, and the obsidian, obviously more of a black color. and I really do dig the design and the color of this device. It looks really good. Other than having that shiny back on here, I would prefer a matte, but it looks really nice and clean and simplistic. I love how the visor is now a different texture. It's not that glossy aluminum to where it scratches, so that's a nice touch. It feels good in the hand. Definitely like the design of this Pixel. It's manageable, the screen is gorgeous, cameras are fantastic, and yeah, the AI on this device and the Pro version is just insane. And so far I really like this Pixel. Probably Google's best Pixel to date, at least until next year. This is the best Pixel that Google has ever made, this version and of course the Pro version. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. That is quite alright. And thank you for watching my final review of the Google Pixel 8. I will see you next time, guys. Peace.